Welcome to Live.Stock podcast, sponsored by the University of Tennessee Beef and Forage Center. I'm Bruno Pedreira, Center Director and UT Extension Force Specialist. Joining me today is Dr. Katie Mason. How are you doing today, Dr. Mason?
I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad and very excited to have here with us Hans Goertz, our Assistant Director of Product Development at the UTIA Smith Center for International Sustainable Agriculture. Man, that's a long title for a long center. Hans, welcome to our Live.Stock podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be in the hot seat and looking forward to telling you more about our work.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, so I think just to kick it off, go ahead and tell us what the Smith Center does as, kind of their vision or their goal.
So the Smith Center is the focal point for global engagement for our UT Institute of Agriculture. We work across our land grant mission to help globalize programs and teaching, research, and extension, and that looks a little different for each of those three mission areas. Maybe to make that more concrete, I could give you some examples.
Sure, yeah.
For teaching, we coordinate study abroad programs for our students across agricultural and natural resource sciences. For research, we support faculty to develop international partnerships and apply for grant funding that allow them to work internationally and address global challenges from a local scale. And then in terms of extension, we've done a lot of work to train and support specialists and extension agents to interact with diverse communities across our state. So think about first generation immigrants that are coming to English as a second language, maybe come from different farming backgrounds, but have some of the same challenges working on the farm or ranch.
No, that's awesome. Let's talk about each of these things a little bit so we can go further in each of these programs. For example, last year we have the USDA FSA exchange programs, right, with fellows from African countries. Let's talk a little bit about that. What was the main goal there with that program?
So the Department of Agriculture's Foreign Agricultural Service funds a series of exchange programs that either bring individuals or cohorts of scientists from other countries to the US to work with faculty at land-grant universities around a specific training topic. In this case, we hosted 6 animal scientists from various African countries for an exchange on animal feed and fertilizer. And they spent the summer of 2024 paired off with faculty in our plant and animal science departments.
Like me and Katie.
Right.
Looking at 2 of our faculty mentors here to learn about new research methods, how to both conduct and apply research to address challenges that they face back home in their livestock sector. So each fellow's experience was very different depending on their research interests and the faculty that they were paired off with. But the purpose of their time here in Knoxville was to gain skills and tools that they could go home and apply to increase productivity in their livestock sector, to address some of the shared challenges we have around animal health and transmission of disease and pathogens, and ultimately being a federally funded project paid for by tax dollars to increase trade between the US and the countries that sent these fellows.
Yeah, at least in my experience, it was really nice to have some of them around and be able to interact with them. And I think I learned a lot about Africa and what they have been doing there. And as you mentioned, a lot of the challenges are the same, right?
Yeah, so that was one thing that I took away from that experience, mentoring someone, and then even on the reciprocal visits is, that we're all kind of doing the same work, even if it's through a different lens or whatever. We're all trying to accomplish more efficient, more sustainable systems. The challenges when it comes to, growing forage
Mhm.
might be different from climate or whatever that is, but you're still trying to grow forage, right? And so
Everywhere.
those same types of experiences go across cultures, and so that was something that I took away, from that.
Mhm.
How about study abroad? How we can help our students as Institute of Agriculture to give them something deeper that they can learn and bring sustainable agriculture back to US.
Yeah, certainly. So Herbert College of Agriculture has set a goal for 50% of undergraduate students to participate in some kind of global experience before they graduate. And one of the primary ways that they do that is taking a study abroad course, where over the course of a semester, they would meet in person here on campus and learn about a topic, and then and the theory and the background behind it, and then actually travel to a country
Mhm.
to experience it firsthand. And I think that's vital to expanding their perspective and giving them new insight from different settings, seeing how other countries approach agriculture and some of the shared challenges we have, particularly in an increasingly global um, system of trade and of animal health and issues like that, to gain that exposure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we have been seeing students going back and forth. It's all good. I have a chance to talk with some of them after they coming back. I think it's always a great life opportunity, right? They
Hmm.
can learn and see boots on the ground, as you mentioned.
And maybe to give you some examples of different study abroad programs that we offer. And by offer, the Smith Center is a service center, so we
Hmm.
work behind the scenes to support faculty to lead study abroad trips. One example is the Bean to Bar trip uh,
Mm.
to Belize, which is led by faculty in our Department of Entomology and Plant Pathology, to look at the cacao or chocolate value chain, from the production of cacao to the processing of chocolate and all the steps in between, and what are some of the issues related to pollination and pest management, and processing, and how that supports communities in Belize, but also how we connect with that as consumers in the US.
Yeah, who doesn't love chocolate?
Oh gosh.
Everybody stops my office to get chocolate. So, I think we should all take that class. But so thinking about, these trips, and we had the opportunity to travel this year in a couple of different groups to some different places. But let's think about that trip to Kenya. So
Mhm.
three of us were on that one. And it was sort of a different collaboration, which I guess we should talk a little bit about ILRI, about the International Livestock Research Institute. But what that trip meant as far as what we can bring home, what kind of connections we made, and what we're going to do moving forward
Mm,
with those collaborations.
definitely. So I was very fortunate this year to be able to visit Africa twice. First in March, with Katie Mason and several other faculty from our Institute of Agriculture here. And uh, I guess, yeah, we were part of a delegation of five, representing the Smith Center and three different academic departments: um, plant science, animal science, and agricultural resource economics.
Mhm.
But what brought us together to visit Kenya was a shared interest in the livestock sector there, and working with Kenyan partners that we had developed through a previous USDA funded exchange program that brought, I think, a total of 13 Kenyan fellows here during the summer of 2022. So really changed the face of our campus community to have all of these African scientists
Mm.
working with us on different research topics. And they've all since returned home to Kenya, but this was an opportunity to visit them, in Kenya and their home institutions, and develop areas for collaboration. And one of the key partners in the livestock sector in Kenya and really the world is the International Livestock Research Institution, or ILRI. And during our visit in March, we signed a memorandum of understanding with them, committing to working together on shared research and extension. And we also organized a workshop around the red meat value chain. And that looked at some of the challenges and opportunities across that value chain. And we learned that a lot of those challenges relate back to challenges that producers in Tennessee are facing. And I think Kenya is also an important country in the region, being kind of a rising economic power,
politically important.
Politically important. So I think there's a lot of interest in deepening that partnership between our two countries, and we're eager to be a part of that.
Yeah, I think we learned a lot on that trip, right? Be able to be there in an African country that has been struggling to develop the livestock sector, right? We learn how much they do not know a lot about meat quality, and even on the production system overall, right? When you put all the cultural aspects behind it, that no, they don't have as much as fence as we have here, right? Territory is not as well settled as we have in the US as well. And at the end of the day, find out that they struggle with things that we struggle here as well, in such as how to define what forage I'm going to use, how to have a good breeding program, or how to define my breeding season, right? I think to me was really nice to see Troy Rowan, Charlie Martinez, and Katie and me discussing things that we do here in a daily basis in Tennessee as well, because the struggles would be the same when we are making decisions in the livestock production systems.
And I think one of the things that I really kind of drove home the point to me of having those collaborations is, you know, we had Julie Ojengo there that was helping us in the livestock market connect with those local folks. And so you know, you can't go in from outside and drop in there and say, hey, we're going to change this, right? You have to have that local connection, someone who knows people there. And it would be the same here, right? That's why we have our county agents, because I'm sitting here in Knoxville and I don't know what's going on in, you know, Fentress County or wherever, but I have that local connection that I can work with that has built trust with that community. And then I can work through them to kind of do a program or to get information out. So I think that really was, you know, kind of enlightening to see that same type of model take place there as well.
It's an important reminder that the messenger matters.
Yes.
As much as the content of the message.
Approach.
And that those partners at ILRI that we work through were doing more than just translating our questions, but also translating the culture and helping relate it back to what we came in with.
And at the end of the day, the same issues, right? Fertilizers are expensive anywhere in the world, right? To buy a bull is not easy anywhere in the world. So it's nice to connect with people that are across the pond, right? The other side of the world. And we realize that we're much more in the same boat than we can think of.
So something else that I was impressed by and Kenya reminded of is that raising cattle is so much more than a paycheck for people. It serves all these important cultural and social
symbol
functions. And you know, there's things that producers do that, you know, as an outsider, we might not understand or think that, you know, that's maximizing their productivity or their profit, but there's more that goes into those decisions. And I think as extension specialists, it's important to understand those other values and how they shape decisions.
Yeah. Well, Going towards the end here, I wanna try to wrap up with you that you have been doing this for a while. The Smith Center has been here for a while, but we have here our farmers today listen to us. How can farmers here in Tennessee benefit from this international work, right? I think I would like to wrap up with this too, so we can share with them
Uh-huh.
our internal thoughts on this.
I mean, if it was my decision, I would take every last extension specialist, agent, producer, business owner um, to Kenya and give them that exposure and the opportunity to exchange information and experience with our counterparts in Kenya. But um, not having that opportunity to send everyone, I think it's important to send representatives from our community and give them that exposure to see how people in the global south are confronting shared challenges
Hmm.
like climate change and disease transmission and just making ends meet on the farm or
Mhm.
ranch and being able to relate that back to their constituents here. I think something that Kenya offered was an opportunity to see smallholder producers making do with less, very resource constrained environment. They rely on a lot of imports, so looking at ways to substitute what they can find in their communities and on their farms
Yeah.
to manage soil fertility and forage production
Yeah.
and find new markets for their cattle.
Yeah. Uh, from my side, it's kind of something that I always wanted to do as a fifth generation livestock farmers myself. I lived in 4 or 5 different places in Brazil. This is my third state in US. Every time I move, every time I go somewhere, I can tell you, I'm a different person when I leave that place. So I'll be always in if I have a chance to go somewhere and spend a week, 10 days and come back because I think
Mhm.
you learn a lot when you go to other countries and we learn from their perspective what they're
Mhm.
doing and how they need to do things facing the world from their perspective, right? Because
Mhm.
from here is one perspective, from the other side of the globe looking here or looking around is not the same every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
Katie Meso, what am I missing?
Not missing anything. I mean, I echo those same thoughts. That I've had the opportunity to go to the African continent twice. I've also been to New Zealand and Australia recently, and so I've gotten to see a lot of different perspectives. I've been really excited about that. And like you said, you're a different person when you leave, and it just puts a whole new meaning to what we do and how we help people, and we apply those lessons, regardless of where we are. But
Every day.
we're all working toward the same goal. So.
That's awesome. Awesome. Hans, it's been a pleasure to having you here on the podcast with us. You have been a good fellow in the trips with us. I want to say thank you for the UTIA Smith Center to do what you guys do. I think
Mhm.
that's important. I hope we can get to the goal to have half of our students going somewhere
Mhm.
while they're here at UT and learning more about what the world has to offer in terms of sustainable agriculture. Thank you so much, man. I hope you guys enjoy our conversation here with Hans and hope to see you all next month. Thank you.